Hey, how's it going? Today, I'm going to talk about the plot of the movie Big Hero 6, and before we get started, I want to give you a heads up that this explanation will contain spoilers. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper into the amazing story, let's immerse ourselves in the exciting world of Big Hero 6. In the bustling city of San Francisco, a crowd gathers in a dimly lit alley for an intense bot battle. The reigning champion, Yama, quickly crushes the vicious bot and confidently calls for a new challenger. Enter Hiro Hamada, a 14-year-old child prodigy, clutching a small bot that elicits laughter from the crowd. Undeterred, Hiro pays his entry fee and faces Yama's bot, which quickly dismantles Hiro's tiny creation. So Hiro pays for a rematch and reveals his bot's true potential. It quickly reassembles and dismantles Yama's bot. Hiro proves size doesn't always matter. Have you ever defied the odds and surprised everyone? As Hiro collects his winnings, Yama and his goons confront the young genius, enraged by their defeat. Just in time, Hiro's older brother, Tadashi, arrives on his motorcycle to save the day. The siblings speed away, but are soon apprehended and arrested for participating in the illegal bot fight. Their loving Aunt Cass bails them out, visibly disappointed by their actions. She escorts them back to their home, situated above the cafe she operates. We learn that Aunt Cass has cared for the boys since their parents passed 10 years ago. Tadashi, aware that Hiro graduated from high school at 13, is concerned about his brother's future and inquires about his life plans. Eager to show Hiro a new path, Tadashi takes him on a mysterious journey. Together, the brothers arrive at the San Francisco Tech Institute, where Tadashi is a student. He introduces Hiro to his fellow talented inventors, Gogo Tamago, who has designed a motorcycle with electromagnetic wheels, Wasabi, who is working on a plasma laser, Honey Lemon, a vivacious young woman who creates a giant purple smoke bubble, and Fred, the school mascot with a passion for science. Tadashi takes Hiro to a lab and, to demonstrate his invention, puts duct tape on Hiro's forearm before ripping it off. As Hiro screams in pain, Tadashi's creation, a medical robot named Baymax, comes to life. Baymax assesses Hiro's level of pain and quickly relieves it. Hiro expresses his satisfaction with Baymax's care, causing the robot to deactivate. Just then, Tadashi's professor, Robert Callahan, enters the room. Hiro recognizes the esteemed academic and is inspired to pursue a future at the institute. Tadashi suggests that the best way for Hiro to secure a place at the school is to impress Callahan with an innovative invention to be presented at an upcoming event. Eager to get started, Hiro racks his brain for ideas but grows increasingly frustrated with his lack of inspiration. Tadashi encourages Hiro to look at the project from a different angle. After spending a lot of time working with Tadashi and his friends, Hiro's latest invention is ready. Hiro, Tadashi, and their friends wheelbarrow into the room on the night of the showcase. Hiro is very tense, but Tadashi encourages him to stay calm. Hiro reveals his creation, the microbots, to Callahan and the entire audience. He takes one out and hundreds of others spill from the barrels. Using a neurotransmitter headband, Hiro can control the microbots to do anything. Everyone is astonished. After the show, Hiro is approached by Alistair Cray, head of Cray Tech. He wants to buy the microbots, but Hiro tells him they are not for sale. Callahan then hands Hiro an envelope inviting him to register for classes. Outside, Hiro thanks Tadashi for taking him to the school. Tadashi assures Hiro that he believes in him. Suddenly, people start screaming. Upon returning to the building, Hiro and Tadashi find it ablaze. Tadashi hears that Callahan is still inside. Tadashi runs in, and moments later there is an explosion. Hiro then calls for his brother. A memorial service is held for both Tadashi and Professor Callahan. Tadashi's friends go to his house to comfort Hiro and Cass. Hiro stays in his room, depressed. After a while, Hiro continues to grieve for his brother in his room. He picks up his little bot, and a piece falls on his foot. He screams in pain, and Baymax reactivates. He tries to take care of Hiro's pain, but Hiro insists he's fine. Baymax notices the last of Hiro's microbots moving around in its container. Baymax decides to follow its direction and leads them out into the streets. Hiro follows him until they reach a warehouse. They discover that the microbot is trying to join thousands of other microbots that someone else has built. These microbots then combine and attempt to attack Hiro and Baymax. Hiro flees with Baymax and sees a man in a kabuki mask controlling the advancing microbots. Hiro pushes Baymax out the window and goes down with him. Baymax catches Hiro and they land safely. Hiro rushes to the police station with Baymax to report the incident, but the officer has trouble believing his story. He returns home with Baymax and decides that they have to catch the masked villain. Baymax only agrees because he thinks it will improve Hiro's emotional state. Hiro creates a carbon fiber suit for Baymax and incorporates a series of fighting techniques into a chip that he places in Baymax's access port, next to the health chip that Tadashi originally created for Baymax. Hiro and Baymax follow the microbot to the city's harbor to find the other microbots. Unbeknownst to them, a car is following them. Inside the car are Go-Go, Wasabi, Honey, and Fred, all of whom were contacted by Baymax when he assumed Hiro was in emotional distress and needed the support of friends. They are all attacked by the masked villain, who uses the microbots to hurl a giant crate at them. Hiro commands Baymax to fight back, but the villain throws Baymax into the air. The gang hops into the car, and Wasabi drives away while the villain chases them. Wasabi drives too safely, so Go-Go takes the wheel and evades the microbots. They escape the villain, but end up driving the car into the river. Baymax pulls them all up to the surface. Fred takes the gang to his home for sanctuary, which happens to be a huge mansion owned by his parents. His room has an extensive collection of monster statues, comic books, and action figures. While looking through the comics, Fred deduces that the masked villain must be Alistair Cray, who must have started the fire at the school to steal Hiro's microbots. Baymax reveals that he scanned the villain at the port, which means they have a reading on him. Hiro then devises a plan to upgrade not only Baymax but the other four as well. The plan is to retrieve the villain's mask, as he may be hiding beneath the neurotransmitter headband. Hiro creates suits for the gang and weapons for them, and they practice removing the mask from Fred's butler, Heathcliff. Honey has small balls of tungsten carbide that create foam and harden to trap the villain. Go-Go has electromagnetic rollerblades and discs. Wasabi has lasers on his arms. And Fred has a monster suit that jumps high and breathes fire. Hiro creates a suit for himself and a new one for Baymax that can fly and has a rocket fist. He tests this suit out with Baymax, and they fly across the city. Baymax determines that Hiro's emotional levels are improving. The two sit high above the town, and Baymax scans everyone in the city. He finds a life form matching the villain on an island further from the city. Baymax flies the gang to the island. They come across an abandoned laboratory with a ruined machine. They discover footage on a computer showing Cray and his scientists unveiling two portals they created for teleportation. A woman prepares herself in a pod to go through the first portal. One scientist warns Cray about an irregularity, but Cray disregards it. The woman goes through the portal, and then the portal becomes unstable. The second portal closes, trapping the woman inside as the scientists are forced to shut down the portal when it starts to suck everything else in. The gang concludes that Cray is the masked villain and that he wanted to steal Hiro's microbots to rebuild the portal. Just then, the villain attacks the gang. Utilizing their suits, they try to catch him, but Honey accidentally gets hit with one of Go-Go's discs, causing Go-Go to slip on one of Honey's carbide balls. Fred and Wasabi crash into each other as the villain throws them off. Baymax flies Hiro high enough for Hiro to tackle the villain to the ground and remove his mask. When he turns around, he is revealed to be Professor Callahan, alive and well. He tells Hiro that he took the neurotransmitter and used the microbots to protect himself from the explosion. Hiro tells Callahan that Tadashi lost his life trying to save him, and Callahan coldly remarks that it was Tadashi's mistake. Filled with rage, Hiro orders Baymax to destroy Callahan. Since Baymax isn't programmed for this, Hiro removes the healthcare chip, leaving only the fighting chip, which causes Baymax to attack Callahan. The other four try to stop Baymax until Honey opens the access port and puts the healthcare chip back in place, just as Callahan escapes. The four are astonished by Hiro's actions, and in anger, he grabs Baymax and they both fly away. Hiro and Baymax return home to fix the scanner and track down Callahan. Hiro tries to remove the health chip again, but the access port refuses to open. Baymax reminds Hiro that Tadashi would not have approved of this, but Hiro insists that Tadashi is gone. Baymax comforts Hiro by saying that Tadashi is right here. and plays a video on his chest of Tadashi documenting Baymax's creation. After 83 failed attempts, the 84th test succeeds, and Tadashi is thrilled to see Baymax working perfectly. He looks forward to showing it to Hiro and believes that Baymax will change lives. Hiro, moved to tears, hugs Baymax. The other four return transported by Heathcliff in a helicopter and hug Hiro. They pledge to stand by him and capture Callahan the right way. Honey gives Hiro a jump drive with additional footage. In the video, just after the portal closes, Callahan is seen angrily running toward Cray. Before the woman enters the pod, Callahan hugs her. Hiro pauses and zooms in on her helmet, revealing the name Callahan. They deduce that the woman is Callahan's daughter, Abigail, and that her father is seeking revenge on Cray. At an event in Cray's company building, Callahan attacks with microbots and recreates the portal, which gradually destroys the building. He intends to throw Cray through the portal, but the heroes arrive to resist. Callahan uses microbots to target Hiro's friends, while Hiro is thrown from Baymax and nearly sucked into the portal. He encourages his friends to look at the situation differently, as Tadashi had shown him. The four use their weapons to escape the microbots, and Baymax rescues Hiro. They decide to send the microbots through the portal, depriving Callahan of his weapon. Baymax grabs Callahan, who almost falls into the portal. The portal crashes but remains active. Baymax senses a life form inside, Abigail, alive in hypersleep. Hiro and Baymax enter the portal to rescue her. They find her capsule in the debris and pull it toward the portal. However, a massive chunk of debris damages Baymax's armor and disables his rocket engines. Baymax tells Hiro that he can send him and Abigail back, but only if Hiro confirms his satisfaction with Baymax's care. Reluctantly, Hiro agrees, and Baymax uses his rocket fist to propel them through the portal, drifting away himself. Hiro and Abigail escape just before the portal explodes. Abigail wakes up and is taken to the hospital while Callahan is arrested. He is ashamed and realizes that he may never see his daughter again. The town praises the gang's heroics, unaware of their identities. Gogo, Wasabi, Honey, and Fred join Hiro at Cass's cafe. In his room, Hiro discovers Tadashi's health chip inside the rocket fist and uses it to rebuild Baymax. They embrace. Hiro ends the movie with a voiceover saying that he and his friends are going to help people, just as Tadashi intended. They put on their suits and reunite with Baymax, ready for action as Big Hero 6. In a post-credits scene, Fred is at home admiring a family portrait and wishing he could have been better. He touches the portrait to reveal a secret room filled with gadgets and suits. Fred's father, who resembles Stan Lee, appears and reveals their shared method of wearing underwear. They hug, and Fred's dad says they have a lot of catching up to do.